Printmaking with a jelly plate. First, you will need to gather your materials. You will need a brayer, paint, a jelly plate, and some objects that you would like to make textures with. You will also need some paper and some baby wipes to clean up when you are finished. Then you will want to roll up some paint onto the plate. You do not need that much paint to begin with, just a little drop, and then roll it up until the ink is all evenly spread out on the plates. Then you can take the objects and press down to create textures on your plate. And you can press the texture multiple times until you get the look you want. Then make sure your fingers are clean before you pick up your paper. When you pick up your paper, pick it up by the corners so that you don't accidentally get smudges on it. And then lay it down very carefully. Once you lay it down, you're committed. You can't move it around. Then carefully rub the back of the paper all over until you get the ink on the back of the paper. Peel it up slowly, make sure it's there. Good. When your print is finished, set it on the side, and then you can add a little more paint. Be careful not to add too much paint. A very small amount will do. And you can mix colors. And just roll it up until the ink is evenly distributed. And do not clean your plate. You will print the paint. You do not need to clean it every time. Once you print it several times, it will get the ink off the plate, so it is clean. Again, lay down some different textures, whether it's bead necklaces, string, cardboard, whatever, and press the textures into it carefully. And then I just use that paper just to get the texture on it. Then pull the bead off, or whatever textures you use. And you can add some more textures with other objects. You just want to make sure you don't use sharp objects. Sharp objects will mess up the plate and destroy it. Okay, make sure your fingers are clean before you pick up paper. Pick it up by the corners and then carefully lay it on top. And now, instead of rolling up ink, you can also print it again. This is called a ghost print. Again, make sure your fingers are clean, rub the back very carefully, and then pull it up very slowly when you are finished. And it will tend to look different than the first one. And the texture actually shows up better on that second one sometimes. And you still have some more ink on there, so again, you can do another print without rolling ink on it. And just rub the back very good. And this will mostly clean the plate without you having to clean it too much. Pull it up. Now it looks like we got most of the ink off, and we added some more textures. Okay, and then we still have ink on the brayer, so you can roll up the brayer again without adding ink to the plate. You can scrunch up saran wrap, you can scrunch up paper towels or paper, aluminum foil, any kind of textures and objects and things you can find around your house, as long as they are not sharp objects. You do not want sharp objects to pierce the plate. It will damage it. Make sure your fingers are clean, grab the paper by the corner, and then carefully rub the back. And then don't be afraid to print your paper multiple times. So there's some ink still there, and I grabbed a paper I'd already printed. So it's got a little different color on the plate than I printed the first time. So rub the back of it carefully, and you can add multiple layers to your paper. And then again, roll up the ink to make sure you use all the ink off the brayer. And if you don't have enough and you want to print some more, just add a little more paint. Starting off, I would stick to 2, maybe 3 colors at the most. Don't get too crazy when you're first doing this and you've never done it before. Once you get the hang of it, then you can add multiple colors and experiment. But you can always let the papers dry and then add more layers with different colors. You can use stencils on these. Stencils will block out some of the ink. Again, make sure your fingers are clean. This is so important so you don't mess up your paper. You may end up with a really fabulous print, and then you got smudges from your finger, that can mess up your artwork. So keep clean hands when you pick up paper. Okay, print it good. You can pull off that stencil, and then you can print what's left, and that's gonna make a nice little frame on a piece of paper. And I'm gonna use another paper I've already printed on and just add another print to it. Multiple layers will add depth to your artwork and make it more interesting. You can also draw on these prints when you're done. You can draw with paint, with pastels, with colored pencils. You can collage on top of them. There's so many different things you can do on top of these prints when you are finished. And again, I'm trying to use up the rest of the ink. I try not to clean. If you noticed, I have not used baby wipes yet. If you will print them, you will get most of the ink off, so you do not have to constantly clean these plates. You really don't want to clean them until the very end when you're ready to put it up. Okay, so I used the string. Now I'm gonna pull the string off and print this too. And you could even roll up ink on top of that with that texture already there, and it will show both. There's so many different things you can do with these plates. Experiment, try new layers, try new things. You can also use your fingers to draw onto the plate. Just make sure you clean them before you touch the paper. Okay, it looks like I'm trying to use the rest of the ink because I think I'm about to get to ready to clean it up. Rub the back very carefully and all over and thoroughly before you pull your paper up. And that added just a little more texture to that one. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to clean. I'm using one baby wipe. It should not take you more than that because, as you can tell, there's not much paint on the plate left, and that is exactly how you want it to look. So use the baby wipe to get the rest of the paint completely off. Don't forget to clean the edges and also clean the surface that the plate is on. You want to keep everything as clean as possible so that the next person who uses it will not get smudges and get dirty because you didn't clean it very good. You also need to clean some of the materials, the ones that you're able to clean. And then don't forget about the brayer. Clean the brayer, roll it around, keep cleaning it till you get the whole roll clean. And just keep turning that baby wipe over. It should only take you one baby wipe to clean everything. If it takes you more than that, you probably didn't print enough and get the ink off.